Hi everyone, here's what's bothering me today. Remember how at the start of the Democratic nomination debacle, Iowa just kind of crumbled and it was a gong show and everyone really hated things and it looked like there was a lot of meddling? Well, guess what? So, according to a report released by the Iowa Democratic Party State Central Committee, they admit in this report that the main source of blame for the problems on election night in Iowa lay squarely with the Democratic National Committee. Probably comes as not really a big surprise to anyone because we all know the DNC is terrible, especially after what they did to Bernie Sanders in 2016. But this just really hits home how selfish and arrogant and clueless the DNC truly is. Here's the thing, right? I'll link the full Politico piece that I'm pulling a lot of this information from in the comments or in the description so that you can see it, read it at your own pace. But basically, all the problems ranging from the delay of results, precincts not being able to report correct numbers, the jamming of phone lines, all of these problems and more lay at the feet of the DNC because they asked the company that they hired to make the app to track election results and provide results in real time. They asked for a conversion tool weeks before the event and the election was supposed to go down, which of course meant it was rushed, which means it didn't work properly, and that resulted in the whole mess that was the Iowa caucus. Beyond that, they also, the state party chair, Troy Price, resigned in the wake of the debacle precisely because, someone had to be the fall guy. And according to some, it's definitely put Iowa's status as the first party to go in the election of the nomination process for a candidate for one of the two main parties. It may have put this in jeopardy now, which shows that the Democrats once again, end up tripping over themselves in their quest to make sure, we can't make sure that Bernie Sanders wins or looks like he gets an early lead. So they mucked about and messed with things because they were so afraid of an old Jewish senator from Vermont that they risked even more damage to their party, their credibility, and the results. That's what's really bothering me at the end of the day, is that the Democrats decided, or the DNC specifically decided, that they really needed to knuckle down and be absolutely sure that Bernie didn't get ahead early on, because if he did, that'd be really hard to fight back against. And the neoliberal order could not possibly stand that. This shows that the politicians that govern things, whether they're Democrat or Republican, they do not actually care about democracy. They do not care about you, and they will happily sabotage their own party and their own candidates and their own elections if it means stopping what they perceive is a threat to their secure power. That's really what this is. At the end of the day, they completely bungled this response to the Iowa caucuses by deciding, hey, you know what we really need? We need an entirely new piece of software so that, and we need it last possible minute. We're going to ask for it, 5 minutes to midnight, basically. We really need this because if we don't have this, how are we going to get results in real time? It's not like we've done this a bunch of times before. It's like that dad quote, I'm not mad and I'm not surprised. I'm just disappointed or something like that. I'm just disappointed in the DNC. It's not surprising because, we all knew that they had it out for Bernie from the beginning. But to just feel so arrogant that you think that asking a company to make these changes at the 11th hour so that you can be more secure in your power and potentially screw over a nominee, completely bungling the setup because you just assumed things would go well. That's something I'm really noticing a trend with Democrats, is they assume things are going to happen. They assumed a blue wave. They assumed people would just kind of show up and vote for Hillary or for Biden. And they assumed that by pandering to conservatives, they would win conservatives somehow. This whole party establishment needs to be condemned to the dustbin of history. It's time to get some fresh, modern blood in the DNC and to get money out of politics, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. And all this report does is show that the problem is so systemic and embedded in both parties, and yet there are people who still think that the Democrats are meaningfully better than Republicans, rather than just being tokenly better on a handful of social issues. The whole bungling of Iowa and the corruption that we saw in 2016, it hasn't been addressed, and it should be addressed. But it's not, and it hasn't been. And really, I think that, at the end of the day, is what's bothering me today.